A lot of people are talking about the Wii U, but chances are nobody's talking about these games. I am the Game Collector, and this is Second Opinion Games, and today I'm talking about some of the most forgotten Wii U games. Probably.
Second Opinion Games.
First up isn't even a game at all, it's a book, The Legend of Zelda Hyrule Historia. Now, a lot of people really went crazy for this book because it has the full Zelda timeline in it, with all of its nooks and crannies, minus all the CDI games though, and that's a bit of a shame. And yeah, it's a book on your Wii U. How did you get it? Well, it came bundled with the Wind Waker in a special Wii U package. So if you were collecting the Wii U's back then, well, you probably picked up this little piece of art. For everyone else, well, sad that you missed out on it, didn't ya? Also, there's no music going on in the background here, which feels wrong for such a great package altogether. The next game, isn't a book at all, but it is the Book of Unwritten Tales 2. It's a point-and-click adventure which starts off with a thunderous fury falling from the sky and trying to frantically save yourself. And even the opening cutscenes are more like tutorials on how to play the game, done pretty seamlessly. And then once you get into the game, your mom calls you a fat, dirty girl and locks you in the tower, and then you have no idea how to get out of the tower. You click on everything, very awkwardly I might add, and most of the time your characters look away while they're talking because they couldn't take the time to link the voices up with the movements of their mouths. Altogether, this was done rather lazily, but if you happen to have a walkthrough, there is some good times to be had here, especially because it has its own personality. And there's plenty of jokes thrown in there just to round out the gameplay. Minecraft's story mode is kind of like a point-and-click adventure, as it does have some point-and-click aspects to it, but most of the time it's an interactive storybook, where you just sit there and watch the story play out, and eventually come to some choices that you need to make. Heck, they even brought this game over to Netflix for people to play, but it does miss a lot of the more interactive environments. This is a great package if you like to watch TV more than you like to play video games, so people that really like the Metal Gear series probably are into this one. Haha, quick jab at those Metal Gear people with all their crazy cutscenes. And I happen to be one of them, so moving on. Terraria is a 2D version of Minecraft, and if you think that that was a bad idea, well, you're probably wrong, because I like this more than the regular Minecraft games, because I'm old and can't figure those out whatsoever. There is crafting here, but most of the time I treat it like an adventure game, just running back and forth, killing a whole lot of stuff, and yes, upgrading my weapons later on, and trying to make some tunnels like as if I was an ant trying to build an ant farm. There's some physics going on here too, and the music is somewhat dynamic with the day and night cycle. Either that or it changes with whatever area you move into next. Either way, it's really darn cool and it's soothing. This is a great game to relax to, and yeah, better than 3D Minecraft. Going from the ugliest game with the day-night cycle to probably the most gorgeous, we have Pikmin 3. Now, I know you Switch owners out there really love the Pikmins, and it was originally made for the Wii U, which means the controls are perfect for this system, not the Switch. And it happens to be one of the most beautiful games on the platform. I was honestly surprised how photorealistic everything is, and it's all cute with a nice atmosphere, and you pick up Pikmin and use them in different ways as if it's a giant puzzle game. The whole thing is pretty cool, and it even gives you a little bit of an intense feel because you have to struggle between managing all of your food for each day and getting the puzzles done in a very fast time, and trying to rescue your little guys off this hostile planet and make sure you get back to your spaceship in time to load up all of your little Pikmin so they aren't dead. Or maybe just throw them all in the water, watch them drown. Either way, you have your choice, you crazy psychopaths. A Nintendo game that didn't come to the Switch was Mario vs. Donkey Kong Tipping Stars. Now, this series is actually a mashup of two different games smushed together. It's Mario and Wario, a Japanese point-and-click game for the Super Nintendo that lets you use the Super Nintendo mouse, and of course Donkey Kong on the original Game Boy. It was a lot more than just regular Donkey Kong. They added those puzzle elements together with trying to get from point A to point B, this time with toy Marios because it's less violent to watch them die horrendously again and again, and this will stress your brain out. Also, Nintendo is incredibly good at creating levels that makes you think that you cleared them, but really they were played the exact way the people at Nintendo wanted you to play them, which is just fascinating as game design goes. This should be used in classes to be taught on how to make good gameplay levels. And this happens to be a puzzle game that in upper levels will make you throw your Wii U in frustration and then, save it because it's a Wii U. It deserves a little bit more love than that. Tumblestone is a game that looks like it should have been a downloadable title, but it actually got a full-fledged physical release. In this puzzle game that you have to match 3 units that look alike, you actually start at the bottom firing, I guess, invisible shots to destroy the Tumblestones themselves. If you manage to screw up, well, then you could start all over again. Now, you can get some of these puzzles clear just by trial and error, but most of the time, you're going to have to do some serious thinking, and it slowly introduces new ways to complete each puzzle as you play through the game. There's also multiplayer modes here, which are fun, and if you happen to have a chick in your life, you better believe women love video games where you match 3 like things together. But sadly, when I dated triplets, that didn't work out as well. Tumblestone is a great game for parties also. Another puzzle game is Brunswick Pro Bowling. Wait, it's a sport? No, it's kind of a puzzle game. See, if you get a 7-10 split, or any type of split, you have to try and figure out the best way in order to hit both pins at once. Now, most amateurs when playing this game will just throw the ball as straight as possible, but after a while of playing, you do learn how to put a little bit of curve and English on the ball, making them slap in and hopefully getting yourself a nice strike. If you happen to get anything, you'll see a cute little cartoon off to the side. There's also plenty of ways to play the game, whether it's testing your skills, trying to knock down just the right pins, or playing in a full-blown tournament. Also, you could upgrade your balls and even have some weird ones, like shooting out a giant grenade, which is pretty much guaranteed to give you a strike. I never seen that at the bowling alley. Now, a lot of people totally took a pass on this game because they had Wii Sports, and there was a totally capable bowling game on that with a whole lot of other sports games. This is just a bowling game by itself, so everyone just straight up ignored it because they already had a good bowling game. It's a shame, too. What also could be called completely unnecessary is Fast and Furious Showdown. Let's face it, all of those movies are just reasons to have crazy chase scenes and set pieces play out, and this game is no different than that. Even though it starts off really strong, launching cars up in the air, you immediately see cracks in the foundation here because the driving feels a little bit weird, and also the physics are just out of control, insane, to the point where you have no idea how anything is supposed to react in this game whatsoever. Eventually, you get crazy scenes where you're jumping from car to car, and then everything gets thrown out the window and makes it ridiculous, and when you have to restart each level, you go into an unskippable cutscene, which means you're going to be watching the same scene play out many times over. This is by far the most frustrating part of the entire game. Other than the fact that how rare and hard to find this game actually is, it's definitely not worth the high price, and people don't talk about this one for a reason. It's kinda crap, and also could be classified as one of those guilty pleasures out there, depending on who you are. Another game that nobody seemed to ask for was 007 Legends, except this time you're playing entirely as Daniel Craig, moving through all of the old James Bond films, even if the storylines don't make any sense by today's standards. Now, doing Goldfinger's movie would have made sense at the time that it was filmed, but trying to modernize it doesn't make any sense at all, because let's face it, everyone knows that Fort Knox is completely empty by now. The United States is broke, people, and this game is also a little broke at spots, but most of the time is very much a Call of Duty style game where you just run around mowing down everybody. And this game was made by Activision, the people that made Call of Duty, so they really didn't have to put a whole lot of effort into this. Just take the best set pieces from previous Bond movies and recycle them into a serviceable video game. In that case, it's kind of also a guilty pleasure here. Hey, did you know they made more than one Call of Duty game for the Wii U? A lot of people don't be playing Call of Duty Ghosts too often. You could still play it online if you happen to have friends that are willing to play with you, but no one really does. There is a full storyline here, but I really don't feel like going through all of that. Instead, I rather go to multiplayer and turn on bots and get tons of my practice on. And when they shoot and kill you dead, well, they don't teabag you or yell at you or call you a noob or anything. So I'd rather be playing this than playing any game online. I actually feel like I'm winning when I'm taking out the computer, even if I put it on easy mode. Most of the time I still play on normal. I like exploring the different loadouts and the different weapons that I could use, and it just is also a good Call of Duty experience, just one that everyone seemed to totally forgot about. And when I'm feeling like I want to play real people, I put in Black Ops 2 like everybody else. Okay, so maybe you heard of most of these games. So how do I find a game that you really never heard of? How about taking a game that absolutely should have gotten a physical release and put it on the downloadable only eShop, which is probably going to be erased very soon. How about Fist of the North Star, Ken's Rage 2. Now, if you never played a game by Koei Tecmo, they all play pretty much the exact same. It's a Dynasty Warriors formula. There's tons of generic characters that you have to beat up and then take out a boss character. Also, in this game has tons of downloadable content, and I mean freaking tons of it. And most of the time, I go after the female characters because if I'm gonna look at a main character long enough, I want it to be some hot chick. Sadly, there's only 2 in this entire game, and why also would I want to pick a female character? Because of the real life battle damage. As you're playing the game, you don't get bruises, instead your clothes sort of break apart, which is absolutely crazy. As you hack and slash your way through waves of baddies in stages that seem to take way too long, you realize that this experience a lot of people are going to completely miss out on when the eShop finally closes now. Sadly, they haven't done any price drops on this game whatsoever, costing $50 freaking dollars. So if you really like this style of game, pick it up now because it might just be your last chance to pick up one of the most forgotten about Wii U titles. But of course, that's just my opinion. Thanks for watching.
Oh, then I'm your POC. I'm Monica Fuentes. You got my name, right?
Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I had a great time making it because I got to play more of my Wii U. And yes, I did save plenty for a part 2 of this very same category. But if there's a game that you managed to think that I completely forgot about, whether it be downloadable or otherwise, please leave me a comment in the box down below and maybe even let me know what your favorite Wii U title was. So until later, I will see you again.